Okay. You ready?
We're good to go now?
Yes, good to go.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Dublin Complete Count Committee meeting for September 8th, 2020. I'm going to fill in for Christina Ludo, our chairperson right now. Not sure, for some reason, she's not able to connect. So we'll just go ahead and move on. Just as an update, the Dublin self-response rate as of this morning is at 82.7%. Our self-response rate for 2010 was 80.8%, so we are almost 2 full percent above what it was a decade ago. So great job, City of Dublin. As far as Ohio as a whole, the state is, in terms of self-responses was at 69.5%. But the state as a whole, when you count the non-response follow-ups that has been going on, is at 90.3%. So the state as a whole is nearing completion, and we're going to get some more updates from Mark Boyd a little bit later on in today's meeting. So I guess moving down through the agenda, subcommittee reports, start out with education. Eric, do you have anything new to report or to add?
Not much news since the last time we met. That video that we had been sending out of Dr. Hoodley, just a 30-second PSA on the census that went out again, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So that had another 1,000 or so views on our social media channels. So we definitely got a lot of legwork out of that 30 seconds on our social media. So that's my update for today.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for doing that, Eric. So moving down to seniors, is Kim Yoder on? I do not see Kim, and I know that Christine Ardecchio was not able to be on today's meeting. Did anybody have anything from the senior committee that they wanted to contribute? Okay, I hear nothing there. Faith-based community, any updates from that area? Okay, and I guess that takes us to the international community. Ben Pachter, anything from
Nothing to share. Nope, nothing to share.
Okay, well, Mark, I guess we've gotten to you rather rapidly. So if you just want to give us an update on your position, I will start sharing my screen here momentarily to get the slides up. And Mark, it should be all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Homer. I appreciate it. And thank you, committee, for inviting me to give an update regarding the 2020 census. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, great. So this has been an unusual census, to say the least, when you consider COVID and some of the lawsuits that have occurred for this 2020 census. At our last meeting, I talked about the statement that the Census Bureau director gave on August 3rd, where he announced that we were going to continue, we were going to shorten the response phase of the census. We had moved it back to October 31st due to COVID, and there was supposed to be statutory legislation that would approve that. That didn't go forward. So in order to complete the count by December 31st, which is the statutory constitutional deadline, we had this census, the administration and the director of the Secretary of the Department of Commerce directed the Census Bureau to end our response, our self-response and the collection of data to September 30th, which is the end of this month. So that was the latest update from that statement from the director. Next slide, Homer. So on Saturday night at around 9 o'clock, there was a federal court order. And I'm just going to read it to you. This is on the census website, 2020census.gov. The Federal District Court of the Northern District of California issued a temporary restraining order at 9:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on 9/5/2020. In the case of the National Urban League versus Ross, and the order provides that the Census Bureau and the Commerce Department are enjoined or prevented from implementing the August 3rd, 2020 replan or allowing to be implemented any actions as a result of the shortened timeline in the August 3rd, 2020 replan, which was the previous slide that I read to you last week, including but not limited to winding down or altering the census field operations until the court conducts its September 17, 2020 hearing on the plaintiff's motion. The Census Bureau and the Commerce Department are obligated to comply with the court order and are taking immediate steps to do so. Census Bureau and Department are also in the process of preparing additional guidance and will distribute that guidance shortly. The enumeration will continue. Next slide, please. So in the last month, I talked about the previous deadline and the new deadline, and you can see I have big question marks in regards to the new deadline. And we'll know more after that September 17th hearing, but that court enjoined the Census Bureau to not to stop on September 30th. So we don't know if that's going to go forward or not, but so we're unsure. But we're going to proceed now as if it ends on September 30th. And as soon as we know when and if that appeal will be granted or not, we can give you more information. But that's all the information I have right now. We're going to continue to enumerate. We're going to continue to count. We're not going to wind down. We're not for sure if we're going to wind down on September 30th. Next slide, please. Incidentally, back to the previous slide, Homer, if you could. So I failed to mention, so the self-response options to complete the questionnaire, as far as we know, they may end on September 30th. They may go another month. As far as the delivering of the apportionment counts to the president, we're not sure whether it's going to be December 31st or not. So next slide, please. So here are the response rates, and Homer touched on these as in the opening remarks. And the response rates over Dublin is at 82.7%. In 2010, it was 80.8%. So that's a fantastic job. This is the self-response rate. As I mentioned before, the enumerators and the non-response follow-up are out in the field now, knocking on doors, asking people to respond who have not previously responded. So that is not our total response rate. That's our self-response rate as of now. Ohio's at 69.4% self-response rate, but as Homer mentioned, we do have data that combines the self-response rate with the non-response follow-up that the enumerators are collecting, and we're at around 90.3% for the state of Ohio. That's the only data we have is statewide now as far as the combination of self-response and non-response follow-up enumeration. I don't have Dublin. I don't have Franklin counties. The self-response rate for the county of Delaware is 79.9%, also as of September 4th. Union County is 78%, and Franklin County is 66.8%. Again, these are self-response rates. Next slide, please. So this is a map of the city of Dublin, as you can see, and it's a color-coded map, and the color code is on the right-hand side, as you can see. And there is the darker, the better the self-response rate, and the lighter, the less better, if you can say that. the self-response rate. So if you look down in the southeast corner of Dublin, there is a census tract that is light blue. Part of that census tract goes into the city of Columbus, and part of it's in the city of Dublin. And let's move to the next slide. I've circled that census tract 62.37. And some of the demographics of that, first of all, that census tract as a whole, that includes both the Columbus portion and the city of Dublin portion, is 59.9%, which is very different from the city of Dublin's overall rate of 82.7%. So it's not a terrible response rate, but it is lagging behind the rest of the city of Dublin. That census tract 62.37 has a 13% Asian population. And these are hard to count populations. It's 45% renters, and it's 15% immigrant population. So if there's an area for the complete count committee that they may want to focus on, it would be that census tract and digging into that tract. Next slide, please. So our message still now in this response phase is that the census is happening now. Respond now by going to 2020census.gov or call the 800 number, which is 844-330-2020. And someone will walk you through the response process at that number. That number is available in 13 different languages. So if someone does not want to, do not want to turn in their paper form that was mailed to them in April, they can either go online or call that number. So there's 3 options. Next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned last month that the non-response follow-up, again, which is when our enumerators, our census takers, go door to door to households that have not responded yet. That began actually in August 11th of last month. And we want people to know that they are following public health guidelines. They are wearing masks, they are using PPE, they are conducting interviews outside the home if at all possible. Next slide, please. So since we are doing non-response follow-up and census takers are going door to door to households, you may get some questions. Any person can verify the identity of a Census Bureau employee by calling this regional office at 267-780-2600. They will put you in touch with the local office and you can verify any person. They will have a badge on, so you could look at the badge and call the number and verify if that person is an actual Census Bureau employee. Next slide, please. The census takers, as I mentioned, will have an ID badge with their photograph on it and a U.S. Department of Commerce watermark seal and a chip and an expiration date. And again, if you're not sure about that, you can call the number that on the previous slide. They will have a Census Bureau issued phone, and they will also carry a bag with Census Bureau logo on it. And if the respondent is not home, they'll leave a door hanger, which are pictured on the right there, and they'll leave a follow-up notice that they've been there and how they can respond online or by phone if they wish, and letting them know that they will be following up again. Next slide, please. So that's all I have right now, unless there's any questions that you have.
Okay, well, thanks, Mark. Does anybody have any questions of Mark? Okay, well, thanks, Mark. That's really interesting, about that court case. But I think the bottom line with it is it's not slowing down anything in terms of enumeration. The enumeration is still ongoing and is still going to move forward without any kind of obstacles in its way. Correct?
Correct. Absolutely. If anything, it'll be extended if the plaintiffs win, it'll be extended.
Okay. Okay, so if there's no other questions for Mark, we just go around, who's on the call here. Are there, see if there's any other, issues. Amy, did you have anything?
No, I didn't have anything to add. Actually, I will say that I found out that the people that are doing follow-ups, if they can't get people, they're doing account by proxy. Because I had someone knock on my door, and the first thing I said was, "I already completed mine." And he said that he couldn't get my neighbors to respond. He had been at their door 3 times already, so he asked me the questions. So just to throw that out there and let people know that apparently they're taking numbers by proxy if they can't reach people.
So thanks for that comment. I want to clarify that. Yes, so they have to make 3 to 6 attempts. Usually a morning attempt, an afternoon attempt, or an evening attempt, or a weekend attempt. And if they are unable to reach the person at the household they're attempting, then they will go to a neighbor's household who may possibly know the number of people who are in the household and the names. And then on the back end, we're not just going to take that information as gospel. On the back end, they're going to follow up through administrative records. So that is and can happen. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I have nothing else to add.
Thanks, Amy. That was real interesting. I didn't know that would be the case. So makes sense to me though. Ben, did you have anything else?
Nope, nothing more to contribute. No questions at this time.
Okay. Jenny, do you have anything?
Just that we're continuing to share that through our emails that are going out to residents and businesses here, as well as we have a publication that's being mailed to all the businesses this week.
Okay, awesome. Eric, anything? Eric Starkey, is anything from your end you want to add?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. Nick, how about you? Eric Richter.
Nothing else to add. We've been pushing the social media as much as we can, and I guess as we begin to wrap this up, we can do a few closing messages from our end.
Okay, awesome. I will make sure I reach out to Super Ness from our Communications and Public Information Division and make sure that she's aware of this additional information, especially what Amy said, so that we can make sure that our residents know that that might be the case if they're not going to make themselves available, or if they don't respond themselves to the census call. Bottom line is we're going to enumerate everybody as completely as we can. Hence the complete count committee. So anyway, Mark, do you have anything else you wanted to add before we sign off?
No, I don't have anything else, but I want to again congratulate the Complete Count Committee and all their hard work and efforts to get a complete and accurate count. We've been working at this for a while. The results are paying off. I want to take full advantage of the remaining time we have, whether it's going to be 23 days until the end of September, or it's going to be another 30 days in addition to that, depending on the litigation. But leadership and commitment to this process is fantastic. Dublin's response rates show that, and I just would advise or request that we not quit now and we continue on until we're unable to respond anymore. Okay. Obviously, coming from the Census Bureau, we want that. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nothing from my side.
Okay. Well, I did want to, with the group here, I did want to say thank you for all your support that you've given us, in these meetings. We do have our next one scheduled for the October the 13th. I think we should still plan on having that one at this point. So we can at least get an update from Mark on whether this has ended or not, but I'm sure after the 17th of September, he'll probably have some more information and send out a an update to me. And then if that's the case, then I will make sure I forward that to everybody. But anyway, October 13th, I hopefully will be wrapping this up, and we'll be able to do a little bit of celebration and pat each other on the back. So if there's nothing else to add, I thank you all, and we will talk to you next month.
Thanks.
Thanks, Homer.
Thank you, Mark.